Bob. Bob is a 40-year-old male with no past medical history, and he doesn't take any medications. He hasn't been to the doctor in a while, so he thinks it's a good time to get checked out. He has a family history of heart attack and stroke in his father, and he's kind of nervous about this doctor's visit. Not long into his visit, Bob's doctor tells him he has something called high blood pressure, or hypertension. This doesn't make sense to Bob because he's a healthy guy, and everyone he knew who had high blood pressure was either elderly or very, very sick, and he was fine. His doctor tells him what high blood pressure is. High blood pressure, or hypertension, occurs when the force hitting the blood vessels in your body is too high. It can cause a lot of damage, and most people don't notice the damage until it's too late, which is why it's called the silent killer. His doctor walks him through all the different types of high blood pressure and tells him that he's in a pretty critical range. Bob's doctor goes on to explain how the damage to the arteries caused by high blood pressure can cause problems with vision, damage to kidneys, bone loss, increase his risk for stroke, weaken his heart, and even cause erectile dysfunction and decrease libido. She tells Bob that he can first make some lifestyle changes to address his high blood pressure. Things like taking salt out of his diet, eating healthier, and exercising. Bob loves to work out, and eating healthy isn't a problem for him, so he's excited to give this a try. One of the easiest ways to lower one's blood pressure is to take salt out of your diet, or to decrease your intake of salt. Salt makes your body hold on to water, and more water means more blood pressure. Some ways to decrease your salt intake include not adding extra salt when cooking, tasting your food before you add salt, removing the salt shaker off the kitchen table altogether, or cutting down on high salt foods like tomato ketchup, soy sauce, mustard, pickles, frozen and microwavable meals, sausages, bacon, ham, stock cubes, ready-to-make sandwiches, breaded chicken, and more. It's helpful to check labels and seek out low-salt options. The dietary approaches to stop hypertension, or DASH diet, is a good way of increasing foods that help lower blood pressure and decreasing foods that help increase blood pressure. Diets high in fruits, vegetables, whole grain, low-fat or fat-free dairy, fish, poultry, beans, nuts and seeds, and vegetable oils are recommended, while diets high in fatty meats, full-fat dairy, sugar-sweetened beverages, sweets, and salt are discouraged. It is also recommended to aim for at least 30 minutes of exercise a day, which can range from walking, jogging, hiking, tennis, cycling, weight training, swimming, dancing, and yoga. It's known that regular physical activity can lower blood pressure. Other things to remove from one's lifestyle is smoking and alcohol, which both increase the risk for high blood pressure. Additionally, getting high-quality sleep really helps blood pressure, whether that means good sleep hygiene, adequate amount of sleep, or using a CPAP machine to get better rest. Bob has made some huge changes to his life, and he's looking forward to his next visit to see how they've affected his blood pressure. He's disappointed to find out that while he's decreased his blood pressure some, it's still quite elevated. His doctor proposes adding medications to supplement his lifestyle changes. Bob is quite discouraged by this. He doesn't know what it means to start a medication for high blood pressure. Does this mean that he'll need a medication for everything now? Will he just keep getting medications more and more and more? And what about all the side effects of medications? How will he keep track? And let's not forget, Bob feels perfectly fine. This was never bothering him. And now he's starting to think that his doctor just wants to push medications on him. After a long discussion with his doctor, Bob goes home with a list of reliable sources to research on his own how to manage his blood pressure the best. Many of the sources highlight things Bob has already done: lifestyle changes, more exercise, better sleep, cutting out alcohol, cigarettes, and getting rid of salt. But they also say that it's okay to use medication when you aren't exactly at your goal. Bob reconsiders medication and decides to give it a try. Bob also read that it's helpful to buy your own blood pressure monitor and check your blood pressure at home, and he began keeping a log of his blood pressure measurements. Some time passed until he saw his doctor again. Bob was nervous for this next doctor's visit, because while he hoped that he had done well, he wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be. He was over the moon to see that he'd finally reached his target, and his doctor was quite excited too. While it wasn't easy, and it took some trial and error, Bob felt really happy knowing that he decreased his risk for a lot of dangerous outcomes. Like Bob, you too can learn more about managing your high blood pressure from these sources. Thank you.